What's up everyone, Darcblade here with another Mass Effect 3 multiplayer class guide. Today we're going to be talking about one of my personal favourite races, the Turian Sentinel to be in fact. It's a bit of an oddity in terms of classes to me, as it is excellent at setting up combos or finishing them off. It just can't necessarily fulfill both of these roles. As always, I spec my Turian Sentinel, as with all my characters, to be able to perform on silver and gold modes. The way I spec it is as following. I spec fully into tech armor, as having tech armor as a damage reduction ability helps greatly and allows you to maybe free up some fitness points, especially into health and shields. I spec fully into warp. This is because I play with biotic teammates and it allows for biotic explosions. Speccing into overload as well is a key ability, making the overload perform chain reactions and stunning weaker enemies is a great way to stop enemies in their tracks and perform a little bit of crowd control. Of course, Turian veteran and fitness, as with all classes, is down to personal preference, I feel. As for weapons, again, it's down to preference. I use a sniper on my Turian Sentinel. This is because I normally tend to do a combination of a high impact overload followed by a sniper shot, rinse and repeat. Now, the three abilities the Turian Sentinel has, well, the first one is tech armor. Every Sentinel has tech armor. After playing around with tech armor with my other Sentinels as well, I found that the ability is really good at damage reduction. But if you use it a lot, you have to take the power reduction ability unless you rely solely on your weapons and not your actual powers. A secondary ability that the tech armor has is to explode and cause an AoE effect around you, damaging anyone caught in the blast. Of course, this means you have to reapply the tech armor every time you use this AoE effect. But to be honest, as long as you're not weighed down too much, this can be quite an effective way to get out of situations in an emergency. One tactic I find with my tech armor when I'm playing as my Turian is when I'm sniping at the back, I don't always have my tech armor turned on, as I want my power cooldown recharge timer to a minimum, so I can use overload and warp depending on the targets who are coming. So I don't always turn tech armor on straight away. When I start taking fire, then I turn on the tech armor to help me increase my shields and increase my damage taking abilities. Now, the second power the Turian Sentinel has is overload. This is a wonderful ability, a wonderful tech move. I really like overload. It's a really strong, really versatile move, put it that way. It can be spec'd for hard hitting impacts that can reduce shields to nothing, as well as barriers. But the way I specifically spec my tech armor with my Turian Sentinel is for a chain effect, a chain lightning effect almost. This means that your overload will bounce to additional targets, causing them damage as well. And if you spec into the ability that it incapacitates weaker organics, then the chain lightning effect of overload will stun multiple targets, not just the initial target. This means that you have a great source of crowd controlling little enemies. It also means that if you play the way I do with the Turian Sentinel, it leaves enemies open for a perfect sniper shot. Now, another thing that overload has going for it is it can be used to set up tech combos, specifically combos that are called tech burst. If you play with a load of techie teammates, then after you've hit someone with overload, if they hit that same target with another tech ability, then the target will explode. Well, not explode, but erupt in electricity, hitting anyone around them and causing extra damage on themselves. Unfortunately, the Turian Sentinel can't activate this tech burst himself unless he takes a specific ammo type. Sticking disruptor ammo on your gun and weapon before going into a match, for example, will increase the chances of you getting personal tech bursts. Also, if you take a faster rate of fire weapon than I have I have here, you'll also see tech bursts happening a lot quicker. I personally, though, prefer the slow rate of the sniper rifle for my Turian Sentinel. I also like to see at least one of my Turians using a sniper rifle, as the soldier tends to use assault rifles. Anyway, the third ability that the Turian Sentinel has is warp. I've covered warp many times in previous videos, for example the human Sentinel, as well as the Sari Adept. It's basically key at setting up biotic explosions. If you play with a lot of biotics, then warp means you can set up these combos really easily, giving you the kills and points if biotic teammates set off the combo. For example, you warp someone, they will follow it up with one of their biotic moves and boom, the combo activates, and if it doesn't kill them straight out, it will give you the biotic explosion kills. Warp also reduces the effectiveness of armor and also puts a damage over time effect on targets. I've spec'd my warp to specifically increase the damage of power and weapons on targets rather than doing damage outright, as I see this as more of a debuff move with the Turian Sentinel than an actual damaging move. Anyway, the Turian Sentinel is an alien race. It's the first Turian I have covered. I love the Turians. The biggest downside to taking a Turian, though, is its mobility. It doesn't have any roll or dodge or hop move to get out of the way quicker. This is compensated, though. They do tend to have higher health and shields than the humans and other alien races out there, except for maybe the Krogan. They also have powerful melee, which seems to be slightly stronger, again apart from the Krogans, but the Krogans are the slowest, thus they deserve the strongest melee and highest health and shields. The Turians seem to be a bit of a middle ground in between the high health and shields and damage that they are able to dish out. Anyway, that is the Turian Sentinel in a nutshell. He is an amazing class that can set up and finish off combos, both tech and biotic, in coordination with your teammates. Whilst you can set off these combos by yourself with various ammo types, it is nice to be able to set up the combos with overload and warp, or finish off the combos with overload or warp. Overload, in my opinion, is the power that is best with the Turian Sentinel and will probably be your most used power. Speccing into chain overload, the chain lightning effect, as well as the neuroshock, the stunning of lesser organics, means this ability is so good at crowd controlling. If I did want to change anything with my Turian Sentinel, for example, if someone wanted full fitness, then I feel you could maybe take a few points out of warp, or maybe tech up armor, depending on which you preferred, of course. As for weaponry, I personally feel weaponry is down to personal preference, as well as how the player plays, of course. As long as you don't weigh yourself down with too much weaponry, you should be fine. Now, the sniper rifle probably isn't the most efficient weapon to use with the Turian Sentinel. A high-powered pistol or good assault rifle is probably better, but this is a personal choice preference. That is down to me, as I wanted to use this sniper rifle with at least one of my Turians. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this guide to the Turian Sentinel in Mass Effect 3's multiplayer. Keep an eye out for more guides in the future. I've been Darcblade, thanks for watching, subscribe and like for more.